Hi, it's Dave Diegelman with Equity Real Estate. Welcome to our December 2025 real estate market report for Southern Utah. Let's do the numbers. So the first thing we're going to look at is the number of sold listings on the market. So we just finished up November at 346 sold listings, whereas last year at the end of December it was 386. If we look at that versus the amount of active listings, we can see active listings have been growing month by month. Right now they've come down. That's a normal thing for this time of year with the holiday season. If we go and look at the median sales price, we're currently at $516,723. Last year at the end of December, we were at $495,000 and some change. So again, I always say this, but sold median prices do not mean that a specific house went up or down during that period. It just balances out what the median price sale was. We'll go into that a little bit later as we look at the actual categories of numbers and see how that skews that. Absorption rate in months, right now we're at 5.54 months worth of inventory versus what the sales are. Last year at the end of December, we were at 4.6. So you can see that coming down a little bit, but this is a pretty good indicator of how the market's doing overall. And at our lowest point that I remember in the last few years, we were at like less than 1 month's worth of inventory, but that was during the COVID crisis, as you all remember. Sold to list ratio. This looks like it took a nosedive. However, it's only going from currently at 95% to where at its peak it was 96.1% last year at the end of December, 95.7%. So really only a 1% difference on that. But that definitely is an indicator that accurate pricing on listings really means something. And if you click into the web report on this where we go into more detail, there's an article from last month that I have left up there on the market report, which really goes into a deep dive in specific housing ranges on this. Days on the market, it's gone all over the place. Right now it's at 76, and last year at this time, in December, was 81.1. So it's going to take a while for a lot of houses to sell. And again, that deep dive that I did in the market link down below shows a specific price range and what really contributes to that. Let's look at the sold sales volume. So this is how many millions of dollars worth of sales we have each month. So we just closed out November at 220,445,704. And last year at the end of December, we had 221,989 and some change. So really that's pretty stable. Let's go into our price categories of sold listings. You can see that year to date over here, the highest number we have in closed sales is in the 500 to 749 range with 1,351 sales year to date. That's up 11.5%. The next highest category is 350 to 399, and that's actually down by 5.5%. And then we're going to jump into 400 to 449, and that's actually down 0.6%. The next category is 750 to $1 million, and that's down 0.6% also. The $1 to $2 million mark is down 3.4% with 358 sales. So that's a very prominent number for this price range. And even though it's down slightly over last year, it tells me that that marketplace is really becoming important to us. 2 to 3 million, we have 46 units here to date. That's down almost 11%. We don't have enough numbers in the 3 to 5 million to really designate anything as being a trend. And the same with the $5 million plus, although we are up quite a bit at 28% over last year in that. Active listings is going to follow somewhat the same as our numbers up above, as the active listings have grown all over the place. One of the biggest things we're competing against for used home inventory, of course, is new homes. New home builders are using all sorts of strategies, including buying down the interest rates, which is included in the price of the home, all the way down to the low 4%, sometimes high 3%. So those certainly make a lot of sense. Most of the new home builders now are working with buyers for things that they want to change, and they're being pretty reasonable about it. And new home development, new sites that are coming online are being very conservative to how big the new subdivisions are. So there's still a little bit of hesitation about really opening up the floodgates right now, as is understood. The overall sentiment amongst realtors is we're standing looking down a hill, not over a cliff. The reality is we're probably going to grow 4 to 5% in appreciation this next year. So it's nothing to write home about. However, if you're sitting on the fence, contact me, because there's some really aggressive programs that can be done right now, not only from the lending standpoint, but also from the buying standpoint. So this month in our online newsletter, we have some kind of fun newsworthy items. We talk about the ups and downs of solar, adding solar to your existing home. And the tax credits are going to expire at the end of December 2025. So this could be the last month of really kind of getting into this and making up your mind on what you want to do. It may or may not be too late to be able to capitalize on that, because from my understanding is you have to have the work completed by the end of December, and I think most solar companies are booked out at this point in time. However, it's a good guideline for looking at the future and what you might want to do with solar or not. We then have a article about Zen and the Art of $1,000 Tomatoes. This is a lighthearted article that I share my misadventures with trying to grow tomatoes in southern Utah and ultimately researching greenhouses and how you can get them to work year-round. And I think you're going to find it really informative, and especially if you've thought about doing a greenhouse, there's some really helpful tips in there. Florida home prices. Why are we bringing up Florida home prices? Well, Ron DeSantis is talking about eliminating real estate property tax, and this could have a significant impact on southern Utah real estate, as we both share the retiree market. So I think you're going to enjoy that also. And in case you missed it from a prior month, the truth about selling existing luxury homes in St. George, Utah. This really is a deep dive into not only market times, but pricing and also just presence on the web, how your pictures look, how your videos look. It's an eye-opener to see how these different things will impact the success or failure of selling existing luxury homes, or new luxury homes for that matter. Tax dynamics and migration, 1031 exchanges. So if you're not familiar with 1031 exchanges, this is for investment real estate, and this article kind of brings you up to date on some of the strategies there. So if I can help you with anything in real estate, feel free and give me a call. My direct private line is 435-703-4041. And as always, God bless you, and let's go into 2026 strong.